MBI Youth and Community Development Services Providers.
Lights, camera, action.
Morale Builders, Inc. proudly presents the MBI TV Showcase.
This is another Morale Builders, Inc. TV Showcase coming to you.
You need water here. Where should I do it? There's a plant right there.
Where should I do it at?
Right here.
Oh, right
This
here.
is good, if it's okay with you.
Here.
Can they hear me from here?
Here.
Yeah, oh, well,
Pass the water.
now, where you going?
Keep saying it. Tell me.
But the boys they don't have a mic.
Oh,
They have a
they
mic.
do have a mic, yeah.
But it's way over
But it's
there.
over on
It's
the other
okay.
side.
It's okay.
How's everybody doing? Good, okay. So, are we not finished? Okay. So, I was asked kind of at the last minute to do a libation, which is not a problem because I like doing libations. Okay. So, just real quick, what is a libation? Does anybody want to tell me what that is, or should I just explain it very quickly? Okay. Okay. Basically, a libation is giving respect and an offering to our ancestors, or people who came before us. Somebody in our family, somebody in our community, somebody who is important to us, but usually it's somebody who's in the spirit world, who is not physically with us anymore. All right? So, not getting into some metaphysical concepts like, oh, are there really spirits and all that other good stuff. In actuality, everyone has an energy around them, and this is just a fact. And the assumption is that this energy is something that will continue no matter what our existence happens to be. So this is basically what we're going to do. So I'm going to speak a little Swahili, nothing bizarre, nothing strange. I'm not going to say anything crazy. And hopefully after I do the general calling and the respect to the ancestors, you might want to add some of your ancestors. People maybe in your family, or people maybe in the community that you feel should be with us now, if not in physical, in a spiritual form, at least in the presence of them being with us. Their energy should be with us. Okay? Sifa zote na muumba weusi. Sifa zote na taifa weusi. Sifa zote na mtu weusi. I give to my fathers back what they have given to me, life, a knowledge of the past, and a presence of the future. We are one in mind, body, and spirit. The circle is complete, unbroken. I call on my fathers, mothers, to be with me now, to guide and protect me, those positive African energies that are who I am. Be with me now. And would anybody like to add any of their ancestors?
Marcus Gardner.
Yeah.
Amy Jakes Gardner.
Harry Tubman. Ashe.
Ashe.
Malcolm X.
Ashe.
Gertrude Thomas.
Ashe. Harold Washington.
Ashe.
Everybody participate. Call out names of famous black people who are no longer here. Stevie Cole.
The libation guy made a mess here, so we got.
Okay. All right. Next, we're going to have the commitment prayer from Sister Margot Thomas. The commitment prayer came from the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Sister Margot is our Executive Secretary of the Garvey and Nkrumah Memorial Division 429.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
Greetings. Welcome to our 27th annual Gitchigumbe celebration. This is the official UNIA pledge to the flag. Now, if you can stand, if you feel like standing, and hold your right fist up once again. And you can also repeat after me. I commit my body, mind, and spirit.
I commit my body, mind, and spirit
to the protection and defense of
to the protection and defense
the
of
red, black, and green.
the red, black, and green.
I dedicate my life
I dedicate my life
to the redemption of Mother Africa
to the riches of Mother Africa
and the liberation
and the liberation
of her scattered black children.
of scattered
I accept for myself
accept myself
and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism,
universal African nationalism,
and promise that our children
and promise that our children
will be instilled
will be instilled
with the purpose and
with-
the knowledge
with the purpose and the knowledge
of themselves as African people,
as African people,
in order that
the
cause of our struggle
cause of our struggle
will neither falter nor fail
will neither falter nor fail
until all black people are free and united with one God, one aim, one destiny. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Margo. Now, our next person should have been actually before Sister Margo. Sister Satua of home has been gracious enough to invite the UNIA out to come out to work with her children of the Indigo Nation, and we have been wonderfully enjoyed to do it. So at this time, we're going to ask Sister Satua to come up and give us our official welcome address. Greetings.
How is everybody? Welcome to the Brainerd Park. We are Indigo Nation Homeschool Association. We are in our 10th year of existence. And we are a group that supports African American families on the homeschool journey. And we meet here every Monday from 10:30 to 1:30. And so we always want people to come out and be a part. One of the visions of Indigo was to make community liaisons with everyone else that has our vision that we have for the black family in mind. So we were so happy to work with the UNIA this year. And I think it's only going to get better from here. So thank you all so much for working with us this year.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Our president for the Clyde Banks has arrived. I want everyone to know the president of the Garvey and Nkrumah Memorial Progressive Division, Brother Clyde Banks. Let's give him a big hand as he comes up.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
I'm Clyde Banks. I'm so happy to see all the young people up and ready to do some great things here and portray some of our illustrious ancestors and some people who are still walking the earth right now. So this is our 27th annual Gitchigumbe program for the children. And what we like to use this for is just a stepping stone to introduce some of the personalities that have come before us. As well, you've heard the saying, many times we stand on the shoulders of some great people. And bringing them to life through the portrayals is one way that we can do that. And because you all study the people that you portray, that you can bring that to everybody else in terms of them understanding what that particular person that you portrayed was all about and what they did while they were contributing to our great heritage. So again, once again, I wanted to say thank you all for coming, and we're going to enjoy this day, and we'll try and get information out to you all in the future about some of our other programs that we have on a regular monthly basis. Now, we don't typically meet here at Brainerd Park. We're usually at 4941 South King Drive, but we do try to move programs around from time to time, depending on what we're doing that particular month. So with that said, I want to thank you again, and pass the mic on over to Sister Mary Bolton.
All right. Thank you so very much for the class. Our president is very busy, working around the city in various projects. In addition to his office as president of 429, he works with many community groups and he does a lot of outreach work. I would like for all the UNIA people now to just stand who are here so we can show the community those people who are UNIA people. Okay, my daughter walked out and Margot walked out, but they'll be here. So we just want you to know also that we are so proud to be here. And even though we have a few people, we have all the components, and we're going to have a great time. Now, our next person, Sister Georgia Johnson. Let's give her a great big hand. This is our lady president who worked so hard to get this program together. Came out, those of you who remember Sister Georgia, this is Sister Georgia, this is Sister Brenda. These are the two ladies that have been working overtime to make sure we have a great Beachy Goombay. Sister Georgia, let's give her a great big hand.
Thank you. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I dress myself up as let's see.
Trying to be Cleopatra. I'm trying to be Cleopatra. And I'm the last ruler of Egypt. And I came today to bring gifts because we're so wealthy. We're a race of wealthy people. We come from a wealthy place in Africa. So I brought with me diamonds and golds for my people over here that helped us with the country and helped it be strong. I first would like to give to Miss Mary because she deserves diamonds from riches from Egypt, from our rich company. So Mary will get these beautiful diamonds worth millions. Show them. That's why they want to come to Africa and try to come and take our wealth. But we have so much to give. I have a beautiful, special gift. This costs $10 million in US dollars. I'm giving it to Sister Brenda because of her help with our nation. We have warriors and fighters that come out. I would like one of the children to come up. I want you to bring this. Which one? Yeah, you come up, darling. Take this over to our brother Tahimba, the drummer. Oh, yeah. I'm giving you a bag of golds and diamonds and riches and wealth from the earth of Egypt. Take these
to the master drummer. Give him the riches of the gold and diamonds from our earth. One of our warriors, and it just happened to be a woman, she fought to help keep our country strong. I'm going to give this to Sister, come on up. Come on, Sister Margot. One of our warriors. She doesn't have her spear and her war gear, but put this on your neck. This is for Sister Margot. She is strong. She helped keep our nation built strong. And so all of you, as you grow up and be kings and queens, you will be strong like us. And last but not least, well, not last, but one more. This is rich and royal diamonds coming from the earth. And I'm giving this to Miss Carla. Miss Carla, come down. Miss Carla, she was the one that, when we were in the royal fight to save our country, Carla came out and she was able to help the soldiers, give them what they need. And this is for Carla. Riches, diamonds, and gold. This is for my staff. I am the ruler of Egypt. Queen Cleopatra. And last but not least, as you can see, I have all these strong black African women. We have strong men and kings too. But this royal pearl came from the deep depths of the sea. Many men have lost their lives trying to just get one of these. But I have hundreds. And I'm giving this to our famous, fabulous, she is our next queen in line. I'm going to give these to Sister Asantewaa. Something here. These are precious. And I want you to know that I'm so happy that you're one of my court from the kingdom of Egypt. I bless you, my child.
Thank you.
Wear them well.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's give it up for the queens. All these beautiful African queens. But I am the royal queen of Egypt. Let's give it up. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Boys and girls, we have a magnificent show for you today. We have food, we have African drumming. I believe we have step walkers. We have poems. And best of all, we have you. Give it up for yourselves. Who are going to bring those awesome portrayals to life. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's see what's next on the program. As we move the program forth, right now I believe it's time for some African drumming. Is that correct? That's correct, yes. All right. So boys and girls, as you listen to some African drums, feel free to move a little bit because it's in our spirit. I give you Baba Tahima!
Technical difficulty here.
I know some of you are wondering, well, how did this Geechee Goombay all get started? How did it all happen? How did it all come to be? Well, you know, we were having a business meeting at as a matter of fact, Brother Chambers' place, 2237 East 79th Street, 27 years ago. We were in his place, in a beautiful place. We used to rent from him, and the officers were getting ready to have a Halloween party. And my husband said, oh, no more Halloween. No more Halloween. Our children. Oh, they don't need to be ghosts and goblins. They need to know who their heroes are. And their sheroes. He said, give me a couple of weeks and I'll come up with something. Sure enough, he came up with Geechee Goombay. Well, you know, at that time I was still teaching. Sister Brenda Dunclay was still teaching. She's been with me all these years. Brother Chamber's been with me all these years. And guess what? We didn't have to worry about getting kids. We just brought our classes. We just signed them up, brought all 30 of them, all 40 of them, and we've had Geechee Goombay in many places. As a matter of fact, we started out at the Park District on 76 and Ingleside. Let me tell you, you know, you learn from experience, right? So we started out with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade children. Those kids took those apples out the goodie bag, and they threw the apples at the building. They said, don't you all never bring those kids back. So we learned, oh, we need to start with smaller, younger children so we can teach them. So then we started with 2nd, 3rd, 4th, like that, 5th grade, and we found that to be the happy medium for our children because they were interested in learning how to portray famous African Americans. So that's where we started. We've dealt with many schools, Mason School, after I retired, Delano School. Every year I had to be working with some kind of program. But when I finally retired, I think a few years ago, because nobody would let me retire. It's always, you gotta be here, we need you. So I would work and work. I said, wait a minute, do you all know what retirement means? It means retirement. I said, so I'm not gonna keep working for you, I gotta do something else. It's time for me to honor my ancestors and honor my comrades, my teachers and my friends that I have worked with. So we moved on to other things, and we had to go to programs like Dr. Sutherland's program, after-school programs, and then when you're working with children in different groups, you don't have a structured group to work with. But we are so happy that this year we're going to be working, as our president said, we're going to be bringing you into some of our other programs, so that next year we will, as Sister Santua says, this will spread, and more people will know about Geechee Goombay. But every child portrays a famous African American. Then we choose the best 3 portrayals. We're gonna see who those are today. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd prizes, but all the children get certificates. All of the children.
A bag of golds and diamonds and riches and wealth from the earth of Egypt. Take these to the master drummer. Give him the riches of the gold and diamonds from our earth. One of our warriors, and it just happened to be a woman, she fought to help keep our country strong. I'm going to give this to Sister, come on up. Come on, Sister Margot. One of our warriors. She doesn't have her spear and her war gear, but put this on your neck. This is for Sister Margot. She is strong. She helped keep our nation built strong. And so all of you, as you grow up and be kings and queens, you will be strong like us. And last but not least, well, not last, but one more. This is rich and royal diamonds coming from the earth. And I'm giving this to Miss Carla. Miss Carla, come down. Miss Carla, she was the one that, when we were in the royal fight to save our country, Carla came out and she was able to help the soldiers, give them what they need. And this is for Carla. Riches, diamonds, and gold. This is for my staff. I am the ruler of Egypt. Queen. Cleopatra. And last but not least, as you can see, I have all these strong black African women. We have strong men and kings too. But this royal pearl came from the deep depths of the sea. Many men have lost their lives trying to just get one of these. But I have hundreds. And I'm giving this to our famous, fabulous, she is our next queen in line. I'm going to give these to Sister Asantewaa. Take these in. These are precious. And I want you to know that I'm so happy that you're one of my court from the kingdom of Egypt. I bless you, my child.
Thank you.
Wear them well.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's give it up for the queens. All these beautiful African queens. But I am the royal queen of Egypt. Let's give it up. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Boys and girls, we have a magnificent show for you today. We have food, we have African drumming. I believe we have step walkers. We have poems. And best of all, we have you. Give it up for yourselves. Who are going to bring those awesome portrayals to life. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's see what's next in the program. As we move the program forth, right now I believe it's time for some African drumming. Is that correct?
Yes. All right.
So boys and girls, as you listen to some African drums, feel free to move a little bit because it's in our spirit. I give you Baba Tahima! Yay! Yes!
Technical difficulty here.
I know some of you are wondering, well, how did this Geechee Goombay all get started? How did it all happen? How did it all come to be? Well, you know, we were having a business meeting at the, as a matter of fact, Brother Taimba's place, 2237 East 79th Street, 27 years ago. We were in his place, in a beautiful place. We used to rent from him, and the officers were getting ready to have a Halloween party. And my husband said, oh, no more Halloween. No more Halloween. Our children. Oh, they don't need to be ghosts and goblins. They need to know who their heroes are. And their sheroes. He said, give me a couple of weeks and I'll come up with something. Sure enough, he came up with Geechee Goombay. Well, you know, at that time I was still teaching. Sister Brenda Dunclay was still teaching. She's been with me all these years. Brother Taimba's been with me all these years. And guess what? We didn't have to worry about getting kids. We just brought our classes. We just signed them up, brought all 30 of them, all 40 of them, and we've had Geechee Goombay in many places. As a matter of fact, we started out at the Park District on 76 and Ingleside. Let me tell you, you know, you learn from experience, right? So we started out with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade children. Those kids took those apples out the goodie bag, and they threw the apples at the building. They said, don't you all ever bring those kids back. So we learned, oh, we need to start with smaller, younger children so we can teach them. So then we started with 2nd, 3rd, 4th, like that, 5th grade, and we found that to be the happy medium for our children because they were interested in learning how to portray famous African Americans. So that's where we started. We've dealt with many schools, Mason School, after I retired, Delano School. Every year I had to be working with some kind of program. But when I finally retired, I think a few years ago, because nobody would let me retire. It's always, you gotta be here, we need you. So I would work and work. I said, wait a minute, do you all know what retirement means? It means retirement. I said, so I am not gonna keep working for you. I gotta do something else. It's time for me to honor my ancestors and honor my comrades, my teachers and my friends that I have worked with. So we moved on to other things and we had to go to programs like Dr. Sutherland's program, after school programs, and then when you're working with children in different groups, you don't have a structured group to work with. But we are so happy that this year we're going to be working, as our president said, we're going to be bringing you into some of our other programs so that next year we will, as Sister Santua says, this will spread and more people will know about Geechee Goombay. But every child portrays a famous African American. Then we choose the best 3 portrayals. We're going to see who those are today. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd prizes, but all the children get certificates, all of the children. And normally my son writes it in calligraphy, but you all gonna have to bear with me and deal with my little handwriting on the certificates today. He had to work and could not be here. But he did the certificates, he did all the work, and we all worked so very hard. So I want to now turn the program over to our little children who are gonna do the ABC chant. So the little children that I work with, you all come on up, all the portrayals, come on up so we can sing the ABC chant. Okay, now turn around and face the audience. Now that's the audience over here. Mamas and daddies, yeah, everybody together. Now I'm gonna come over here. All right. I'm gonna say A. You say A stands for? Say A stands for Africa. Where we all come from. B stands for black.
B stands for black.
Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful.
C stands for culture.
C stands for culture.
The way we live.
The way we live.
D stands for drum.
D stands for drum.
Dum dum dum.
Dum dum dum.
E stands for equal.
E stands for equal.
Equality.
Equality.
F stands for freedom.
S stands for freedom.
Freedom is not free.
Freedom is not free.
G stands for Garvey. Marcus Garvey. He gave to the world the red, black, and green. H stands for hieroglyphics. The oldest ABCs. I stands for intelligence. J stands for justice. And also jazz. K stands for Kwanzaa. First fruits. L stands for love. And liberation. M stands for me. M-E. N stands for name. My name. O stands for opportunity. P stands for power. Black power. Q stands for queen. African queen. R stands for race. My race. S stands for soul. Soul food. T stands for truth. The whole truth. U stands for unity. V stands for victory. W stands for work. X stands for Malcolm X. He said, a people without a history is like a tree without roots. Y stands for you. That's us. Z stands for zeal. Now get ready to clap. Z stands for zeal. Zip and zap. All right, turn around and bow for the audience. Thank you. All right, you can be seated. Come on, guys.
Good job. Good job.
Come here, Logan.
He can wear my hat.
Okay. Next we have the portrayals. So I'm going to ask Sister Santawa, Sister Brenda to come and assist with the children in line of the portrayals. Yeah, line them up so that they can get ready for their portrayal. And we need to have judges before. We need some judges. Who does not have children in the portrayals? Sister Garnett is one judge. Who's another one? Brother Shaka, you gonna be a judge? All right, we need one more.
Oh, the teacher's gonna line them.
Yeah, line them up so they can get ready to do their portrayals. Yeah, you see something. Is any water left in that bottle? All gone?
Greetings, brothers and sisters. How are you? Amen. All right, before I share with you information about our great sister Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, I want to first give you an idea as to why there was a Harriet Tubman and why there was an Underground Railroad. I wanted to share this information by using one of the formats that my young people use quite often, which is the spoken word. So I've put our history into a rap song or poetry. I call it The Great Captivity. I remember that very first fateful night while members of my tribe decided to camp out and soon fell asleep on a peaceful shore on the west coast of Africa. About midnight, we were snuck up on by these pale-faced men who bludgeoned, stabbed, and shot the elders and strong men who tried to fight them off. We children screamed and ran, but they grabbed us, preventing our escape. They quickly fastened chains around our hands and legs and dragged us to a waiting rowboat. I took one last look back to shore, and tears welled up in my eyes. As soon as these ugly, demonic-looking, blue-eyed, blonde-haired, bad breath and foul-smelling sailors had successfully moved us from the rowboats to the larger vessel, the fear that the sailors were going to eat me made me want to jump overboard and take my chances in the shark-infested water. With no chance of escape, they forced me into the dark belly of this foul-smelling vessel that made me vomit as I was chained into a crouching position along with several hundred others. The spot I was in was urine wet and feces muddy, obviously left by my fellow captives who had been in this position for over a week. As I was to learn, it was for their security to not let us up on deck until miles away from shore. If being in that hellhole was not bad enough, when aboard deck, my innocent eyes had to witness the white captain and sailors use a whip to beat and force my sisters into mass orgies where they were raped and sodomized. Every day for 3 months this went on until finally the ship docked and the 3/4 of us that were still alive were terrorized, starved, and sick. The next thing I knew, I was standing on the auction blocks in front of a place called City Hall, where our backs, legs, and arms muscles were measured and where my mouth was sores open to check for good teeth. One after another, the auctioneer went, do I hear 500? I got 5, can I get 1,000? I got 1,000, can I get 1,500? Standing there with baby in arms, several naked, cold, and terrorized mothers watched the white plantation owners buying slaves that were consumed with greed and lust as they overlooked or looked over their potential property and shamelessly in front of their own women and children fondled the breasts of these African queens. Never before had our women felt so inadequate to provide protection for the babies at her breasts. And time after time I saw sick babies snatched from their arms, thrown to the ground, and stomped to death or sold to the highest bidder. Although a teenager, my natural desire was to kill these devils. As time after time, I saw wives, children, and husbands sold, then snatched off the auction block. Never before had the kings and chiefs from my village been made to feel so helpless because of the chains preventing them from raising their arms in defense of our women and children. There was so much screaming during the auction, most of us just hummed and sung sad songs to drown out the screams. If that wasn't bad enough, no sooner than we were bought, we would immediately be branded with the plantation owner's mark that would stay on your body for a lifetime and a smell that would stay in your nostrils for a lifetime. When my turn came, I screamed when they put the hot poker to my skin and they just let it burn like a cow, horse, or sheep, or goat, or mule. They just let it burn. Thank you. Our sister Harriet Tubman lived on one of those plantations with her family. And every day, she had to get up and walk from what is called Slaves Row down to the cotton field. She would have to leave in the morning. They called it can't see in the morning, and she would stay there until can't see at night, picking cotton, bruising the fingers, bloody fingers. And she said to herself, I don't want to be a slave anymore. Every day, if she did anything wrong, she was subject to get beaten with a whip. The whip would cause a bruise on the skin with the first lash. The second lash would cut the skin. The third lash would make the skin pop off the body. A pool of blood would lay beneath the body of anyone that had been whipped. So Harriet said, I don't want to be a slave no more. She went to her brothers. She says, brothers, what's it like? How do you all feel? Harriet, we hate this. We get beat for any little reason. The food that we get is so little until we're half starved most of the time. For a pillow, Harriet, we have a piece of a tree trunk that we lay down for the pillow. And the only thing we have for a blanket or sheets is the rags that we've been collecting for years on this plantation. Harriet, this is terrible. But we're not ready to run away. Harriet eventually got married to a man by the name of Tubman. And she said, baby, let's run away. He said, whoa, run away? Wait a minute, Harriet. You know, if we try to run away and they catch us, they could cut my leg off. They could cut my ear off. They could brand me. No, Harriet, I don't want to run away. She said, okay, okay, baby. One day the slave master was out walking about, and he picked up a big, large stone, and he threw it, and it hit Harriet in the head, and she fell out unconscious. For the rest of her life, she had what was called sleeping sickness. She could be walking along and then fall out and fall asleep. She said, I don't want to live like this anymore. So she went to her brothers again and said, brothers, let's run away. They said, Harriet, you got a plan? Because, we just can't run away because you know what's going to happen if we get caught. She said, yes, I have a plan. So, okay, Harriet, what's your plan? What are we going to do, Harriet, if we run out of food? She said, I'm going to steal the slave master's gun and his rifle. And so if we run out of food, we can shoot a deer, a rabbit, a squirrel. I'll cook it, we'll eat. Okay, Harriet, where are we going? She said, we're going north. Yeah, but how do we get north? Do we have a map? She said, no. She said, there's a star in the sky at night. It gives us the direction to the north. We'll just follow that star. Yes, but Harriet, it's cold out there. They had the dogs. They sent the dogs on us. What are we going to do if the dogs come? She said, yeah, you're right. We're going to keep running. If we get to a stream of water, we go in the stream, and then rather than go straight across the stream, we go down the stream or we go up the stream, so that when the dogs come in, they go straight to the other side. They won't pick up our scent because we would have either went this way or that way. They said, okay, Harriet, let's go. Now, I want all the children to come and form a horseshoe right here. Please. I'm going to give you an idea of what it meant to get on this underground railroad, to get on this train. Okay, listen. Harriet told her brothers that they would have to leave at night, pitch dark. Because if they left during the daytime, the police, or what they call paddy rollers, then they called them paddy rollers. We call them police today. They would be out looking during the daytime. So Harriet said, we've got to go at night. So the brothers agreed. But when they left, they had to be extremely quiet. Have you heard of the warriors called ninja? Okay, ninja are very, very quiet when they're sneaking away or they're sneaking up on you, right? So as to not make a sound so that you don't hear